It sounds like Baylan Skoll has been recast for Ahsoka Season 2. This all started to be talked about literally hours after we finished up recording our first episode of Last Week in Star Wars, so we didn't get to talk about it last week. I'm sure we'll discuss it more on Saturday, but for now, I do want to talk about the news. Rumblings of this first began with leakers like Bespin Bulletin, but was then confirmed by Hollywood Reporter and more outlets who were saying Rory McCann will be stepping in to play Baylan Skoll in Season 2 of Ahsoka. He's probably most well known for his role as the Hound in Game of Thrones, but I always first think of Hot Fuzz when I hear his name.
Yarp.
I am still so sad about Ray Stevenson's passing. It was so sudden, and he was great in everything he did. He was a fantastic villain in RRR, which has become one of my all-time favorite movies the past couple of years, and his performance was one of my favorite things about Ahsoka Season 1. He just seemed to understand the blend of fantasy and adventure and pulp and mythology. That tease with him standing on the Star Wars version of the Argonath from The Lord of the Rings, looking off into the distance, revealing a connection to Mortis, that had me very intrigued for what was to come. Obviously, I wish Mr. Stevenson were still around to continue the character and story he defined. But when I heard this potential news, it was one of those casting announcements that immediately made me think, oh yeah, that's good. There wasn't any confusion for me, like if you were to announce that, say, Jeremy Allen White was going to play a Hutt that we last saw as a baby. The Hound was consistently one of my favorite characters throughout Game of Thrones, and that includes the later seasons. Like Stevenson, he brought a lot of gravitas to a world full of zombies and dragons and zombie dragons. He played a somewhat villainous character that wasn't evil necessarily, but he definitely did bad things, and he had a bit of a redemption arc. We don't know where Baylan's story is headed, but I can actually see quite a few similarities there. I'm also glad to hear that the role has been recast because I want that storyline to continue. Clearly, there was more for Baylan to discover and experience. I think Dave Filoni knew exactly where he wanted that character to go and what he was supposed to represent. If it has deep mythological ties to Star Wars and Mortis, I have a feeling Baylan's journey will also be very closely linked to what Filoni wants to say with the Ahsoka series. Again, I will always be deeply sad about Stevenson's passing, but I think recasting and finishing what he so brilliantly started is the right move for the character and the story. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the news. A little late, but I didn't want to wait all the way until Saturday to cover this. So let me know what you think of the casting choice in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page, which we recently updated. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.